Hey there everyone, I'm Marco Couvet, the host of Expat Expert podcast, and this video is extracted out of a longer interview that I had with Lily, aka Lilia, a Russian singer who moved abroad, lived in Cyprus, Paris, and now in Greece, and is following her dream to become a singer.
So I do that as well on the side to support myself because, being a musician,
art is
we
art.
struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. We will talk more about the music part and the whole, because you sing in a lot of languages and that triggers the curiosity out of me a lot. But so let's do the first part first and let's talk a little bit about your experiences living abroad.
The Expat, episode 11 with Lily, aka Lilia.
I love it. I always knew I was going to live abroad. For some reason, I felt it. And it was just a matter of how and when. I love learning about different cultures. I love assimilating into a new country, of learning new ways to live, and hearing, different stories. And living abroad showed me that people are basically kind of same everywhere. And it's there's good people and bad people everywhere. And I love it. I have, the worst part of always moving is that as soon as you start getting friends and you have to leave them and they miss you. But on the other side is you have friends all over the world. So wherever you come, you feel at home.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you said the very first move, you did it with 17 years old?
Yeah, I just graduated high school, so I was still 17, but then I turned 18 in November, yeah.
And I was going to Cyprus for studies, so it was studying related. And you did 1 year there?
Yeah, 1 year, because it was easiest for me as a Russian to apply to a foreign university. I didn't have to do an extra year in Germany or in France, for example. You need to do this prep courses. But unfortunately, Cypriot system of education didn't impress me much. Okay. And I realized that I needed, to probably move somewhere. And the place that accepted me and my credits was Paris. And a private business school in Paris, yeah.
So you transferred, you did 1 year in Cyprus,
yeah.
And then you were able to transfer that entire whole year? Or
entire whole year,
yeah.
I was very lucky.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen often. I think
a
lot of people needs to repeat or start from scratch or take some subjects out, but the full year, it's strange. Nice, very cool. And how was it because you're really young?
Cyprus was already familiar to me because we used to come there often for holidays, for vacations. My mom loves Cyprus. She has a special bond with it. And whenever before I turned 18, I was bound to, my parents. I couldn't travel without them. So if I wanted to travel, I'd have to go with my mom, and she only wanted to go to Cyprus.
Okay. So you knew the country even before?
I knew the place. I knew it. There. Yeah, it wasn't a huge stress for me. But Paris, I had only been there once before moving there. I didn't know a single person. I spoke a little bit of French, let's say B1 level, because I studied it in Russia as well. But it wasn't, for sure, it wasn't as good as my English. I didn't feel comfortable in it. It was a bit of a culture shock, I could admit. France and Paris specifically. Yeah. Those who know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But no, I still, now looking back, I'm thinking, how did I even do it? I was 18, 19, 20. My flats were my first flat in Paris was 13 square meters, which is
a normal flat in Paris.
Yeah,
it's a big flat in Paris.
It is a luxury. But yeah, and I was would I even be able to do it now? Maybe not. I didn't know anyone, but I was 19. I loved French culture. I loved Paris. I was just so happy to be there, to live there in no matter what status. But being a student even better, like learning. And my school, my business school was American. So half of the subjects were in English, so half of the professors were American and half of them were French, and you could choose your subjects, and yeah, it was amazing.
What about Cyprus? Was it in English also there? Or?
Yeah, in English.
Because you moved there, I suppose.
Yeah.
In which part of Cyprus did you move?
Greek part,
the Greek
Larnaca.
part.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't really speak Greek at that point of time?
I didn't used to speak Greek at all at that time. Moreover, I never was able to learn Greek when I lived in Cyprus because, you know, they have a specific dialect.
Yeah.
And when you know, even if you study Greek, like you learn proper Greek, but then you go out in the streets and they speak something completely different. So I only actually managed to learn Greek properly on lockdown. Yeah, when I was in Russia and I had, you know, lockdown, we did many things.
Yeah, and you needed to feel this podcast started in lockdown. So.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and I thought, you know, why not? I need to improve it. Finally, I need to because I have this unfinished business sort of in my head. Like I kind of know Greek, but I kind of don't know it. And then, yeah, I did a lot of Greek and a lot of baking during COVID. So, and then I decided, you know, why not? Why not Greece? And yeah.
Cool. Very nice. So how many years you were in Paris then?
2 years, 2 more years, because European Bachelor is 3 years. But because my school was, as I said, half American, we were able to, basically what I did during my last year, I took extra subjects. So I did extra credits. I wrote one more bachelor thesis, and they issued a diploma for 4 years of studying.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I am a bit of a Hermione myself.
Transferring from one university to the other with complete year, then combining 2 last years in one. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's not bad.
I am a nerd.
I mean, if you're good at studying, that's good.
Yeah,
good for you.
I love studying, yeah.
And you said half of it was in English and the other half was in French. So you needed to learn French for the studies?
I mean, I could understand everything with my French, but of course I needed to improve it to be able to write papers, you know. But the good part is that I was able to choose my subjects. So of course I chose, the majority of them were in English. Because also American professors were kind of cooler.
American professors living in Paris. I'm seeing the stereotype, I think. Yeah.
I mean, every single one of them was like a special case. They were such interesting, people with very interesting destinies. Yeah.
Cool. So nice. How many languages did you speak back then?
Well, yeah, when I moved to Paris, I only spoke, Russian, English, and French. But then in my school, we were supposed to choose an extra language to study, and it was either Italian or Chinese. And I was like, okay, Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah, but so I was learning Italian in French. For me, that was...
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You were learning Italian in French?
In French. I had to translate into English. I decided not to even translate to Russian. I was like, okay, let's just translate to English at least. But yeah, that was... But, French, Italian, they're pretty close, like Spanish as well. Latin languages, yeah. It was an experience.
Cool. Do you remember anything that shocked you? You said that there was a cultural difference. I suppose also Cyprus was also different, from being from Russia. You are from a big city in Russia, or you are from
yeah, quite a big city. Now we have 1.5 million people.
Okay, that's good.
It is like a capital of our republic, of our state. This is produced by our home brand. It says Bashkir Aesthetics.
Cool.
Yeah, I come from Bashkortostan. So yeah, and your question was, did I notice?
If it was a shock, both Cyprus and Paris at that point of time, what would be the thing that you
culture
remember
shock.
the culture shock to be?
Well, the biggest shock for me in like the Cypriot University was like when you, during the break, you would come out and then you would go out to like, let's say a cafeteria, and you pass by and there is just, you know, the sea, the Mediterranean at the cafeteria, and all the students are just, you know, drinking their frappes. This is something you will never see in Russian university because they're pretty, you know, serious about studies. In France, in Paris, I didn't have that much of a shock. But I guess the biggest shock was that, you know, you can just take a subway and, you know, 15 minutes and you're like in the Louvre and it's always accessible to you. And if you're a student, you have your student card and it's almost free. And it's just, you know, just direct access to like the world culture, world knowledge at, you know, in just like 15 minutes. Yeah, that was the biggest shock, I guess.
Nice. So it triggered you, like you said that you loved the whole like French culture and everything.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the thing is that we studied French in my high school in Russia, right? And we had the best teacher. She really like immersed us into the French culture. But you know, the French culture back in the day, like Jodassin, we were singing those songs like Charles Aznavour. And, you know, we were learning about the 14th of July and all this, you know, all the stereotypes about French people. But then when I arrived to Paris and I started living there, and, you know, we have the stereotype in Russia that French is such a romantic language, is the most beautiful language on earth. Then I arrived to Paris and I heard like French people swearing. I was like, that was the shock, I guess. Yeah. And then I realized actually, you know, we also have a stereotype about German, about it being like this harsh, brutal language. And then I heard German speak and it's actually so soft and so gentle. And I heard like this German rap. I don't know if you know the singer Ko. And it's so like melodic. And I was like, what? Yeah.
I think in Paris, for example, like the French, if you go to certain neighborhoods, the French is very harsh. And in Germany, it really depends on the region.
Yeah.
There is dialects and accents inside of Germany that are really, really hardcore. I mean, there is even like
maybe northern, right?
The northern are a little bit more like, harsh in the sense.
If you liked this short video out of the full episode, you can find the link to it around here and in the description below. Of course, if you are also interested in checking out other episodes, please subscribe and like.